All right, let's talk a little bit more about the crypto economy. A lot of focus this year on the big run-up in Bitcoin, which is cooling off a little bit today. But the launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs, one of the key catalysts, and that has also been a catalyst for many of the businesses associated with the crypto economy. Galaxy Digital is a great example of that. That company, which is based in New York but trades in Toronto, seeing profit and revenue lift in the latest quarter. Let's get some perspective on what's happening with the business now from founder and CEO Mike Novogratz, who joins us. And Mike, it's nice to have you back with us. Give us a sense of what's been happening with your business in the last few months.
Sure. Listen, so the big story this year, of course, was the launch of the U.S.-based ETF. Brought in, over $12 billion of new capital to the space, but more importantly, really credentialized crypto, certainly in the U.S., but globally as an institutional asset. When you've got companies like BlackRock and Invesco moving into the space, the nervousness around investing goes away. And so we've seen each of our three core businesses really pick up. Our biggest business, which is a sales trading business, our markets business, derivative activity has gone up fourfold, had a big quarter in derivatives, lending activity picking up. In general, we've got more clients doing more things. And so great there. Asset management, we've been the liquidator of a lot of the bankruptcy, the FTX bankruptcy estate in particular. And so the largest and really the only company that is handling these big bankruptcies. So taking the leftovers of FTX and selling them back into the market, that creates clearing prices, it creates a healthier market, and it builds us client franchise. We've got into the infrastructure business in a big way. Our mining operation down in Texas mines Bitcoin cheaper than just about any other mining operation. That's growing. And of course, what's unique about the crypto business, not just Galaxy, but all of them, is we are very much tied to the price of the assets. So when Bitcoin goes up, more volume, more revenue in Bitcoin in our staking business, in our mining business, in our asset management business. And then when it consolidates, that slows down a little bit. And so unlike other companies, earnings tend to be a little lumpier, and momentum in the overall price tends to be more important. What I find really different in this cycle is that we crossed a Rubicon with institutions. So you'll have ups and downs in price, but I can tell just from having done this for now over 10 years, the movement of people into the space is gaining momentum and is real. And so I'm pretty confident in a year, more people will be participating, not less people.
I want to just follow up on that as well. And you talked about more clients that you are interacting with now, because I think to your earlier point about the spot Bitcoin ETF launches and these big well-known Wall Street firms launching those ETFs, that was introducing cryptocurrency to a wider swath of investors. Is there any more color you can share just on the makeup of the people that you're interacting with and how that has changed over the last 12 months?
Yeah, so the ETF is a great product for the wealth channel, right, and for retail. And so we get some of that, but it broadly just credentialized the space. And so our growth of client base is over 50% overseas, right, in Europe, in Asia. As prices go up, they got more excited as well. We are seeing some wealth clients. We're an institutional firm, so we don't do with retail directly, but we do with high net worth. And what I'm seeing there is a lot more comfort in, say, lending their coin to us unsecured. That wouldn't have happened a year ago, and it's happening now. Or, doing derivative trades. And so even the perception that the companies like ours are much safer because crypto's here to stay, that's a big change of pace. And so our cost of capital goes down, our profitability goes up.
You talked a little bit on the conference call about your expectations for the price of Bitcoin itself, and you made that earlier comment about how the trends with the cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin itself can dictate what's happening in your business. I believe you said in your conference call a range, call it between 55,000 and 75,000 US is something that you're comfortable with. Can you walk us through how you're thinking about what happens in trading action in the months ahead?
Yeah, listen, I think, so Bitcoin always needs a narrative, right? We're still in this cycle where all of crypto is about narrative. And if you think of Bitcoin as digital gold, there's always two narratives. One is the macro and two is adoption. So in the first quarter, we had the halving coming in, but mostly we had this huge adoption of the ETF. So as that gets priced in, now you're looking for what the Fed can do. And we had originally thought the Fed would be cutting rates, not just Galaxy, but the whole market. And it's pretty clear right now the Fed's on hold until they see the data turn. Powell really does believe the data will turn down at one point, inflation will come lower, and they'll be cutting rates. But right now, everything's on hold. And so I think until you see that movement in short-term rates, both here and abroad, and or more regulatory clarity, Bitcoin probably trades in a range. You know, the old high is 73. That probably is the top end. 50, 55 seems to be a decent support, 53, 55 in that zone. And we'll trade there sideways until that new catalyst comes up. And you never know when the catalyst shows up, but it's going to probably be with rates going lower or regulatory clarity coming.
And on the regulatory clarity point, because you were talking about on your conference call as well about the fact that we have a presidential election this fall. Obviously, everyone's going to be watching that very closely. Can you give us a sense on how closely the presidential election might factor into what happens on the regulatory front? Like if you're looking for resolution or clarity, does that come after the presidential election?
I think you're not going to get it till after the election. You know, last week was a big week in that Donald Trump came out and said, hey, I'm going to be your crypto president. Like there's a lot of people in America, there's 80 million crypto holders or 90 million crypto holders. He is a savvy politician and says, you know, I want those guys on my team. He said, I'm your guy. How much does he know about crypto? Probably this much, but he came out very vocally as a pro-crypto candidate. And Biden, on the other hand, is still, you know, pretty much anti-crypto, right? He came out saying, I will veto this obscure accounting rule that would be beneficial for the crypto companies. And people are like, what? And, you know, I said on the conference call, it's a little bit like, you know, the Democrats need to wake up. It's like saying, I don't like dogs, right? There are 90 million crypto holders. There's only 60 million dog owners in America. And so it makes no political sense what the Democrats are doing. But right now, the community is saying Republican good, Democrat bad. The reality is you need both, right? For the U.S. to have good long-term stability in the crypto industry, you've got to have some bipartisan agreement. And what I find in D.C. is, with the exception of a few people in the Democratic Party, most Democrats agree that crypto is a good thing.